We are into champion select here as Alistair is going to hit the bench first up. I have a feeling we are going to be seeing some bans towards that support role as the Bard is going to hit the bench as well. Rise following up on the side of SuperMassive.
Yeah, so far nothing crazy. Bard against Dumbledoge, we've seen it.
Yeah.
Alistair against SwordArt, by far his best support.
Rise against the mid lane because
Rise
it's
against
ridiculous.
the mid lane. TF, funny enough, because SuperMassive used it against G2.
I find it interesting seeing that ban on the red side though, just because Twisted Fate often used as sort of that counter pick.
Right. I think it's Flash Wolf saying unless you get like a global pick composition, where you can like kind of catch us if we're playing a little bit uncoordinated, and you can then snowball, we're not really afraid of you, so we're just gonna ban it. And I think it's perfectly fair. When a team hasn't really shown much else, take away whichever champion you feel like could be annoying to play against.
Yeah, and look, having a look at this first pick here, the Graves, I think that it's, you know, fantastic as far as the jungle meta is concerned. I don't like it, though, in SuperMassive's case. I think that Stomaged is actually a fantastic sort of jungle control player. Early gank pressure is actually very good out of this man. He played a brilliant Gragas and Elise during the IWCI tournament. Not even sure whether he dropped a game on those two champions. But the Graves sort of shoehorned in there, and it gives away the Maokai.
Yeah, and I think it's something we've seen more and more in the pick and ban phases. Teams are kind of baiting that Graves first pick. If you see a jungle ban on blue side, you just respond with your last ban being one of the other top 3 junglers, and then the last one remaining tends to be Graves, and then the other team will first pick him. But as you said, it's harder to have an early game impact, and that's something SuperMassive needs. So I totally agree with you. I actually would have loved to see like a Maokai first pick as an example.
Even an Ekko, something like that.
Even an Ekko up there, and then you would just grab the Elise later on when Flashless will take away the Graves.
Naru, what a beast. No fear at all. Insta-locks the Azir into Maple's LeBlanc.
Yeah, and he's
also, my God.
He's one of the players who's picking LeBlanc into Azir normally.
Exactly, yeah.
But it is a skill matchup. There's definitely kill pressure on the side of LeBlanc when the jungler joins in, which could be an Elise here from Karsa. He's also shown the Elise in.
Yeah.
But either way, you have a jungler who can actually gank that mid lane, set up the chain, 1 or 2 chains, want to get a kill. And then suddenly Naru is down. He's actually been one of the mid laners who struggled the most, which is not a surprise when you consider the fact he's on, you know, the worst performing team in the tournament. But I expected him to come in and try and see if he could match the other mid laners.
Yeah.
And he's been trying.
I was sort of expecting a little bit more early pressure out of this team as well, but I like the late game security. Naru has shown that he does have a lot of skill on the Azir pickup, but Maple locking away the Lee Sin. There's the Braum at the same time. Achuu and Dumbledoge. Achuu's already locked in, Vayne, so this is going to be a fun game.
Classic 80 carries. You know, the team is talking about the compositions. Oh, what do we want here? Should we get a savior for the team? And 80 carry just says nothing and instant locks the Vayne. Achuu is going to be the big carry. Or he hopes to be the big carry.
Well, look, that has been the story of SuperMassive. This bottom lane for the team has looked very, very impressive.
Oh, support Elise?
Oh, is he going to do it? Still got a few seconds to go. No, it hasn't been locked yet, man.
He's played it before.
I
would love to see Nami, but she's been useless honestly, ever since I stopped playing. And that's
Tell us how you really feel, Deficio.
It's quite a few years ago now, that poor Nami.
Yeah, a little mermaid that could. But 8 seconds to go.
I mean, almost no matter what you pick as a support here, I think you go Janna and you just take the 2v2 late with the Vayne.
That is what they're going to do.
Obviously, it can be a bit annoying late game against the Braum when you want to try and single out some of these targets and he's in your face with a big shield, but...
All right, the Vayne Janna bottom lane going to be locked in here for SuperMassive. Of course, Dumbledoge, there is a certain play that he made a little while ago where he managed to get a kill on a certain player on Janna.
Was it
talk
Maple?
about it, though. I haven't. It was a relatively famous mid laner, I seem to believe. About
Maple,
a year ago.
Yeah,
about a year ago.
Must have been Maple. I'm clearly
was it? You reckon it was Maple? Okay,
yeah,
cool. Lock it in. But SwordArt now hovering Varus. It will be an 80 carry that they will pick up. Of course, Ezreal has slunk through. As NL has been favoring that champion a lot.
Yeah, the problem here for Flash Wolves is that SuperMassive kind of challenged him to have a little bit of fun in here and be like, oh, do you have any surprise picks, by the way, you want to show here at the end? Because now we've already shown you the Vayne. The gloves off, they've already slapped him.
Yeah, exactly right. Gentleman's agreement. Oh, okay.
They do.
So,
somewhat.
I sort of like the Braum Tristana lane as well. Just feels very fun with the fact that you want to stack up the bomb and the concussive blows at the same time. There's synergy there.
See, this is a lane, if you have synergy, you can actually get fairly easy kills, but it involves Braum jumping, Tristana jumping in first, and then Braum will follow you, stand behind me. and you just connect onto the first target you get onto here in the 2v2 late, and you have Ignite, you have a lot of burst coming in, of course, with the bomb here from Tristana. But
just...
you have to play aggressive.
You also have to not get condemned or Howling Galed in the middle of that combo.
We're going to assume when we pull off this great combo that the other team is not doing anything obviously for it to work really, really well.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
You definitely don't want Janna to get to level 6, or if you can, maybe lock her down with the Braum stun in time, burst her. She won't be able to do a whole lot. And new and interesting bottom lanes.
Yeah.
Everything else is basically the same.
Yeah, just a little bit as well. I mean, we can talk about the fact that the Maokai has been picked up into the Azir here, so a lot of damage reduction. But, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to hop onto Twitter. Tweet at LOL Esports and use that hashtag SUPWin if you think that SuperMassive are going to be able to finish with a bang, or if you think that the Flash Wolves from the LMS will be able to take this one, use that hashtag FWWin. Let us know what you think. Of course, LMS looking to bounce back.
Yeah, had a tough loss earlier today, which potentially cost them actually the chance of getting their second place.
Yeah, and actually owning the Rift here as well. So LMS supporting their region as we are onto the Rift. So SuperMassive starting off on our blue side, and we'll see whether they can get it done in their final match of MSI 2016.
And we might as well just start talking about tiebreakers. Because that is basically what Flash Wolves is playing for right now.
Okay, let's do it.
So,
take us through. Take us on the magical journey of tiebreakers.
There are two tiebreakers. One of them is a three-way tie for second place between CLG, Flash Wolves, and SKT. It requires Flash Wolves right now to win. Of course, it requires G2 to beat CLG, and it requires SKT to beat RNG. All three will then tie each other. Achuu needs to also get away from this one. Oh, he just
not a great tumble. There's the rocket jump as well. The slow comes down onto Achuu. The flash over from Dumbledoge gets the shield. Avoids Achuu getting stunned up. But that's a summoner spell down, not from the champion we were expecting it to be down from.
No, Dumbledoge trying to be the hero, and Achuu kind of face planting into the wall.
Oh, there it is.
And then SwordArt being annoying. Anyhow, the other tiebreaker scenario is sadly not involving Flash Wolves. If they do lose here, and SKT manage to win the next game, they play against RNG, and we of course have G2 beating CLG. CLG and SKT will tie for second place, and Flash Wolves will get pushed down to fourth place, and they will then face RNG in the semifinals. So they have to win this game to try and get that three-way tie.
That is the most unlikely scenario, and if MSI has taught us anything, it's probably the most likely scenario.
I mean, we can definitely see SKT beating RNG. We expect Flash Wolves now to beat SuperMassive. Then all we need is for G2 to beat CLG, and we have the three-way tie. But that doesn't look very likely either right now.
I was going to say that European pride is coming out in force now, Deficio. As SwordArt is going to try and stop this double jungle. Let's have a look at sort of the state of the game at the moment as Vayne on her own towards the bottom side of the map, just farming things out. Tristana doing the same towards the top side, and SwordArt just being annoying on the Braum.
Yeah, so lane swap against SuperMassive. We've seen it before.
Yep.
It's been actually the weakness of the SuperMassive lineup. Whenever there was a lane swap, they kind of didn't know what to do. They're very, very good in standard lanes, but I understand Flash Wolves' decision to swap out of it. Also, double range they're against in the dual lane. Obviously, again, I think you do have some kill pressure with this 2v2 from Flash Wolves, but I understand the reason for swapping against SuperMassive.
Yeah, and look, Vayne probably happy to avoid a bit of that early game as well. It's been a while since we've seen her. Very excited to see Achuu play this champion. Of course, hasn't been playing with SuperMassive for a very long time at all. He was sort of on a few little teams here and there, has been playing with the squad for about 4 months, something like that, but has been a massively impressive player.
Yeah, it's a very standard story when we look at like their semi-professional player who then slowly but surely gets closer and closer to the professional scene.
Yep. Finds
his first real professional team and really has performed well. Like, he's actually been the big surprise for me. I think Dumbledoge, yeah, flashy plays, obviously.
And Naru, we've always sort of known, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah, we knew Dumbledoge was going to be a good player, same with Naru. But Achuu is kind of the guy coming in, and he's actually the best AD carry in terms of laning stats, like CS at 10 and 20.
It's ridiculous.
He's the highest AD carry, which says a lot about his ability in lane, at least.
And this is a tournament with the likes of Bang, with the likes of Stixxay playing like he is at the moment as well. So super impressive out of Achuu. We'll see whether he can do it again on the Vayne. For the first time. Like the champion diversity here as well. I mean, MSI has been struggling a little bit if we compare it to Worlds last year. So
that's
good
what
to see some more
for.
picks.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Pad the stats, Deficio.
Get the list longer. We have an A4 paper here, and it's not even filled out completely.
I know, if that was Worlds, that'd be like an encyclopedia.
Exactly. We got a few more champions, maybe, coming later. Not sure what I would expect, like G2 to pull out randomly.
Well, I'm glad that Karma has finally made her way onto the Rift. Maple, thank you very much for that one, because I was expecting her to be quite impressive this tournament. Has, so far, not done anything.
See, that's the funny thing, though. Well, yeah, she did lose the game, but she looked pretty decent.
She did.
But the funny thing is, we have a lot of picks that are, like, honestly good, like Karma, like Vel'Koz, you know, different kind of picks. Varus even as well. But Cassiopeia is another one. But we don't get to see them because there are enough like S-tier picks, like Ryze, Azir, LeBlanc, that kind of just goes on a rotation. And when they are open, you take them. Instead of trying to go for some of these new picks, unless we start seeing like 3 mid-lane bans coming in, we probably won't see a lot of these, but maybe in the best out of 5s.
Yeah, well, they will need to change up a whole lot of different things as the teams move towards those playoffs, and hopefully we'll see a bit of a change here as jungle is rotating around the mid lane here just a little bit. Maple getting some damage down on Naru. Hits the chains here as well. Stomaged is going to make his way, but Karsa right over the top. Nice use of the barrier there as Maple going to try and bait out with his clone. But so far, nothing going to come of it.
So 2 junglers with the same game plan here. Just hover around mid lane in this lane swap. You can see everyone else is in the side lanes pushing in.
Yep.
Maple's safety splash. Same from Naru, of course. Tower going down on one side, tower going down on the other side.
Karsa.
And Karsa may be going down in mid.
Ooh, very, very close there as Naru does shift some sands around, but just playing sandcastles there in the mid lane. Not going to find too much more as Thaldrin just pushing out the top wave. NL and SwordArt looking for a dragon.
Yeah, I'm actually happy we see a lane swap here because I think that's been one of the main weaknesses for Flash Wolves, but also the entire tournament. Almost a lot of teams have been struggling with lane swaps, or at least doing it what I would consider a clean lane swap. There's been a lot of new strategies coming in. Flash Wolves are always putting a lot of focus on Dragon. If you look at the lane swap itself in this tournament here, because coming in, obviously, it was a different story, but right now, they like to like push out these 2 towers, the tier 1 towers, and then go for that early Dragon. Problem is, it does slow you down quite a bit in terms of the tempo and swapping between lanes. Because obviously now Achuu is already in the bottom lane, ready to push out with this big wave. And also they took a Rift Herald on the side of SuperMassive, so they can join in this Rift Herald with this big wave on the bottom side. And they're going to push much faster for that tier 2 tower down in the bottom lane here for the Flash Wolves. And they're just at the lane now with NL up on top. So they are pretty far behind in tempo. Obviously, Vayne is terrible at pushing out waves.
Yeah, I was just saying that. Is the Tristana going to be able to make up for it? And we'll see.
She will definitely catch up a bit because, yeah, we talked about Vayne, just single target. And one of the reasons she's actually not played in current meta at all.
See whether Achuu is going to try and make up for it with an early static shift purchase. Of course, that item being helped out just a little bit as far as killing minions is concerned, but you sort of need that extra 2.5k gold in order to do it.
But I really like this here from SuperMassive. This is again the standard like Rift Herald play we see back in Europe very often, where you give it over to the jungler. So right now we have a Graves running with Rift Herald, level 6 as well, and he's just joining now with Achuu. So you have this big wave buffed up by the Rift Herald, and look how Flash Wolves are realizing, okay, we are really far behind here because we have to take that dragon, so they have to go defend now. They're going to need a vision from
SuperMassive. They're going to know exactly who's going to be moving over from the mid lane. Maple not going to find that flank, and Flash Wolves trying to defend. And
as soon as this wave here is gone, you can just rotate straight to mid lane and put pressure there on Maple, get a few hits on tower, and simply push it in. So you're just forcing Flash Wolves to be defensive, and the reason also is a bit annoying for Flash Wolves is you get so little deep vision yourself. Look on the jungle, look in the jungle next to SuperMassive. They have so much control, and in the jungle of SuperMassive themselves, there's nothing right now.
Yeah, well, wave is going to be dealt with here as Howling knocks NL into the sky. Pirate Tristana not too worried about it though. Everything is going to be fine. Of course, that explosive shot doing wonders, clearing out that minion wave. The Stomaged trying to do what he can with the blue buff.
Yeah, I would like to see SuperMassive just, after losing that first big wave, rotate in towards that mid lane, put a bit of pressure on Maple, then kind of recall and reset the whole thing, because you obviously have a big wave coming for Thaldrin up in that top lane as well. So, still looking okay. Both teams managed to get one river objective.
Yep. But as far as that mid lane being a little bit isolated, has meant that Maple can do a little bit of zoning. About a wave in the lead here as Naru can take a little bit more harassment from the LeBlanc. No chain's going to be thrown out. That's a big wave for Maple to pick up, so taking some control now.
Yeah, now we get to that weird state. There's no real laning phase happening because it was a lane swap. You know, early towers have gone down. teams tend to then keep swapping around. So you always want to keep applying pressure on tier 2 towers on the opposite sides of the map. But we might see actually Flash will just try and group up on the bottom side, and Achuu is sitting very far back waiting at his tower instead of actually going up. Normally what you want to do is have your AD carry support always push out waves past the river, and you always want your top laner to be behind the river, so near your own base where you can catch the wave. So he actually should have been bottom siding if we follow that trend, and obviously SuperMassive would have now been pushing on that tier 2 top tower, but they opted into a more defensive approach and a 2v2 lane instead.
Yeah, and some nice deep vision gained, of course, by Flash Wolves, allowing them to steal away that red buff as Karsa is going to now transition that into taking this little Rift Herald, Rift Scuttler. And that
Mini Rift Herald,
almost
technically.
Completed. Yeah, I guess theoretically.
You weren't wrong.
Heralding the river.
Just not
river
mutated
herald?
Yet, and whatever else happened.
But right now, finally, Achuu does have himself a lane to actually farm out. Dumbledoge helping him out. Dumbledoge not necessarily playing his full-on roam style that he's known for. Just helping Achuu out, allowing him to last hit these minions more easily as we didn't see that. No cancelling of auto attacks there as Naru gets hit by the chain one more time. Does have the Emperor's Divide if he needs it, decides to hold on to it. Avoid getting outplayed by Maple. Stand and deliver with the damage.
Yeah, very even mid lane. I mean, we've seen this matchup so many times. Just go Abyssal, Scepter on both sides. Avoid the one-shot from a LeBlanc and avoid some of the poke damage coming in from Azir. And then it's more about, you know, can your jungler join in? Can your support join in? We've seen that a lot this tournament. Supports roaming, which is funny because you just talked about Dumbledoge not doing it that much. Because he's actually been doing well 2v2 in lanes normally. Not in a lane swap, of course. Hard to really force anything as a support in the 2v2.
But as it stands, I mean, we've got completely even gold in this matchup, of course. A couple of turrets each, lane swap working out pretty well for both sides, and you can see Achuu actually farming out very nicely now in sort of a semi-split push scenario, going towards what looks like a Blade of the Ruined King as item number 1. Pretty standard stuff for the Vayne. I would have expected something like potentially a static shiv first up for that extra wave clear, but decides not to.
Well, you are dealing with a big tank like Maokai. Let's see top.
Yeah, get kicked into the wall there as the Chrono Break comes out, but does mean that he's walking the wrong direction. NL just going to jump on top, wants the stun, flashes for it. NL now going to get another Goomba Stomp. First blood going to the Tristana.
So Flash Wolves are basically swapping it to the other side of the map. This is what we talked about before, where you keep moving your AD carries around whenever you push it into these towers. And SuperMassive seem to be a little bit confused about it, at least on the top side, because this is the correct play on the bottom side for them. Just match, just mirror exactly what they're doing, because you were pushing as fast, but your top lane should never be caught out. You should know, okay, they're coming, there's a high chance I'm going to get ganked, and just step away. Instead now, Flash Wolves are pushing, and in the end, they will just trade towers one more time. SuperMassive not opting into rushing for that inhib tower, knowing that also MMD was already there.
Well, they do have the inside track on this Dragon. Slight gold advantage now for Flash Wolves, but it's only 500. Going to avoid saying nothing to write home about, but here's the replay.
So, I mean, here again, your entire team is on the bottom side of the map, and you have zero vision in your own jungle. Just don't even wait there, you know? There's such a high chance you will get ganked, and a good little gank, I'm going to call it.
Yep.
From Flash Wolves, but also SuperMassive doing most of the things correct in the swap, and then like these small little mistakes cost you just one kill here and there, and it's always a little bit of gold to the other team. I like the fact though they roamed down and got the Dragon, so they actually would have won out if it wasn't for that kill.
Yeah, NL also playing pretty fantastically in order to make sure that he secures the kill. You never really underestimate how hard it is to lock down an Ekko and kill him, especially as an early game Tristana. But now, first blood gold, BF Sword Pickaxe as well as the Zeal, fantastic pushing items at the beginning of the game.
But you talked about also the Vayne items.
Yeah.
Blade of the Ruined King, when you're against a Maokai, makes a ton of sense because obviously when you do get into these early fights, he's going to be the man you're going to kill. Vayne can't really just start diving the backline unless we have a crazy flanking Vayne, which could happen, but
I'm excited.
At the same time, you also want to be able to duel people 1v1 in these side lanes. And let's see what happens mid. Karsa is going in.
Yeah, there's the kick already onto Naru. Immediate barrier there as the Emperor's Divide comes down. Maple gonna get caught into the Mimic.
The wrong one.
Yeah, exactly. They're chasing up to the wrong guy. As Karsa is gonna look for more here as Naru is going to fall down on the back end of the fight. MMD grabbing that one. Winter's Bite from SwordArt to zone away as Karsa wants to turn back in. The tree made his way into this fight. And Maple, of course, still alive. Chain is gonna land onto Thaldrin. Snared up. Parallel convergence down. He does use the Chrono Break. Karsa might be in trouble as collateral damage. Unable to make it work. work. 3 swift kills, and Flash Wolves orchestrated that beautifully.
Yeah, Karsa has been hovering around that mid lane quite a bit. Another gank pulled off, and SuperMassive were there. They were ready to respond, but then they picked the wrong target, chased the wrong clone. Flash Wolves get a few more kills. Bot lane tower already set up with the Rift Herald, and right now, the towers are just falling down. SuperMassive not really able to do anything themselves. One of the problems with the Vayne, we talked about it, she pushes so slowly in the side lane, so you have so much time to make plays around the map, and you're still able to kind of track her sitting there pushing in and just recall and go up and catch the wave when it hits a tower, and then Vayne is basically just farming for herself. It's a very greedy champion. You don't really give anything to a team, unless we get into late game, and then you can probably carry the whole thing.
Yeah, sort of, we understand from solo queue what that one's about, but let's have a look at this one again.
Yeah, so it's a good gank from Karsa, but I actually like the response from SuperMassive. You see, Karsa doesn't even try and reconnect his Q, and sadly forced SuperMassive.
Well, he couldn't actually. Naru played that quite nicely.
Dancing around, yeah, and now SuperMassive ends up chasing the clone. And the rest of Flash Wolves are here. I mean, it's tough, right? It's a 50-50 almost on which one to chase. Mabel, good movements around with it, and sadly in the end also, your Ekko goes down.
Yeah, and it was actually, you know, good attempt there from Thaldrin, but couldn't quite make it work. And afterwards, Maple manages to pick up the Abyssal Scepter, has himself the Fiendish Codex and some Boots of Lucidity at the same time, so 20% extra cooldown reduction for the LeBlanc. Wanted to cycle through those spells as quickly as possible. Naru, though, decent clip as far as items are concerned, as the chains are going to go slightly wide after the ultimate comes out from Maple.
Yeah, we definitely say mid lane has been fine. For SuperMassive, it's more what's been happening, you know, with the ganks or what's been happening in the side lanes. Of obviously that first spot up in the top lane. Still, definitely not out of this game. If you look at SuperMassive, like when you have an Azir and a Vayne, there's always a late game.
Exactly
Problem is
right.
getting to the late game.
And look, sometimes you don't even really need to make it feeling all that good. I mean, they could be down 17,000 gold. Don't even worry about it.
If that actually happens right now, that would be pretty scary.
Pretty exciting.
I cannot yell as loud as Kobe. I'm just saying it right now.
I think I might be able to help you out. I will need some excitement though, Martin. If you're up to it.
I'll try. Channel my inner Kobe.
Yeah, he's just bouncing around right now, guys. Maple, he's going to be pushing here towards the mid lane. Karsa coming around as well. Warrior Enchant going to help him out with some extra turret damage. SwordArt going to Winter's Bite his way through. NL turning up at the same time. So 4 members here in the mid are going to be able to lock down this turret. Just jumped on. SuperMassive couldn't respond in time.
No, basically what's happening right now is the Flash Wolves, whenever they go to the side lane, can push much faster than SuperMassive. Again, we talked about the Vayne. So whenever they do push down the lane, they can either roam towards the mid lane. They can also TP away and not get stunned.
Oh.
No.
Parallel
Close
convergence
one.
is a little bit frustrating sometimes. Didn't quite manage to go off.
But yeah, we just see Flash Wolves constantly pushing every single lane, and then SuperMassive is kind of running around trying to defend the towers a little bit too late.
Oh. Karsa just going to start counter jungling here. Achuu picking up this minion wave as it turns up. Dumbledoge now trying to play defense. Of course, Janna can shield turrets, so as far as defense game is concerned, you're feeling pretty good about it. But very different scenario right now, and Flash Wolves just look so comfortable.
You're very easy to please.
I am.
If shielding your tower is enough defense.
Oh man, at least it is defense, you know?
It's
you
something.
gotta have something.
It's something. I agree on that one.
But yeah, look, we're clutching at straws just a little bit.
Other positives, you can bury yourself if you're Naru right here. And put up your own turret.
That's true.
It's another positive.
Not entirely sure about the bury yourself thing. Doesn't sound great to me. Oh, barrier. There we are. Just not very good.
It's the accent.
Yeah, I can't understand. Well, look, people have said the same thing about me to Fisher. Don't worry about it.
Accent Brothers.
Yeah.
What was the name you gave us before we went live?
Defatlas.
I like it.
Yeah. That's the Deficio Atlas combo. It's also a weight loss program. But Dragon going to be started up here. SuperMassive, of course, did manage to grab themselves one after that push towards the bottom side. So Flash Wolves only going to be able to grab their second here. Dumbledoge throws out a Howling Gale. Unbreakable is going to be there. SwordArt just going to eat the knockup. And Maple looking for Naru. Shifts some sands over the top. Oh my, what was that interaction? That was very strange. Barrier comes through though. The auto attacks it down. Naru flashes over, but Maple's there to answer.
So close though. Mabel jumped straight into the wall, knocked back into another wall, and he was kind of just dancing around. Nothing else gonna happen though. Flash was got the dragon as well.
Yeah, very close though. Impressive play from Naru despite the fact that he did fall down. MMD with good timing, turning up to help out his mid laner. And the tree actually 1-0-2. Maokai, coveted pick at this tournament. He's going to be very difficult to kill.
Yeah, we kind of knew Maokai was going to be the S-tier pick, the top pick in the top lane, funny enough. Obviously because everything else around him just got nerfed. And he got buffed like a few patches ago and remained untouched. So he's been like the #1 pick for top lane whenever we've seen any bans or we've seen top lanes being open. You know, he's the guy you go for. But then you always go like Ekko or Poppy as a response into it. I would love to see a team just say, you know what, let's try and change it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's pick Olaf.
Okay,
just
sure.
Throw axes at him, man. If there's a counter to a tree, it's an axe.
Yeah, you got 2 of them even. So
yeah, Darius.
You will destroy him in the early game at least. Try and snowball the game. We've seen Trundle once or twice up in the top lane as well, winning laning phases. But problem is when you get to these team fights, which we've seen a ton of, you really want that big tank, and it's just so much easier playing these team fights when you have these big front lines. Point and click CCs as well definitely helps.
Yeah, flash twisted advance, fantastic for covering distance at the same time. But I mean, the main thing about Maokai is that we've had so much prevalence on the Azir pick. I mean, the AoE magic damage that MMD is going to be able to stop on the side of SuperMassive is ridiculous. Plus, I mean, the Sivir that has been popular at the same time. Yeah,
and also in a game like this, where Naru is not running cleanse, Maokai is able to just lock down Azir very, very easily.
Yeah.
But the problem for Maokai is once he gets to the Azir, he gets knocked away again. So it is a little bit difficult in that sense for Maokai, but normally when you run cleanse, it's much better for Azir. You then cleanse, obviously, the snare, and then you can push him away, and then you can start kiting back. Right here, Naru will be stuck, locked in place, and then the rest of Flashwolf might be able to just pile onto him and kill him.
Oh, speaking of piling on and killing, the barrier does go down. Maple not going to be able to find Naru just there. But that was 1 versus 3, and I was definitely scared for Naru's life.
I don't feel like the tower did a whole lot.
Yeah.
Jumping in, 1 quick trade, jumping back out. SuperMassive once more, push back in towards their own base.
Oh, quick draw has to be used there from Stomaged to get himself out of the jungle. That's his jungle, by the way. Doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Worst feeling ever as a jungler. Your lanes are losing, you're kind of just running around 0-0-0, you've been farming a little bit, and where do you go?
Yep, you can call him a baser from now on, something like that. Maple steals away another blue buff. And this is just systematical suffocation of SuperMassive.
Yeah, I kind of expected this to be like a high action game. You'd be yelling for like 90% of it. I've been trying to like catch up.
I can't do that again, Deficio.
You'll have to, man. You'll have to at some point. Next game, don't worry.
Yeah, next game. I understand that.
But instead, it's a Flashwolves team saying, guys, we actually really need to win this game because we want to have a chance at that 2nd place. We don't want to get knocked down into 4th and play RNG. So, no chances. Play it safe, play it slow, lane swap, everything, and just slowly push every single lane. And only fight if we know we have a numbers advantage. There's been like no crazy plays at all.
And controlled play has been what Flashwolves' MO has been in a lot of their victories. And look, also adaptation, understanding how to change things up. Kick goes back onto Stomaged there, but SwordArt not exactly going to have finishing kill pressure.
It's a good point, though, because when Flashwolves have been trying to play like fast-paced, like they did against RNG with the Z comp, very quickly it feels like they don't really know what to do. Like, they can play it the first 15 minutes and like, okay, we're supposed to be 1-3-1-ing, but how do we set it up?
Yeah, it's like, where am I up to?
Yeah, like, oh, okay, let's go Dragon and team fight then. Oh, we lost. So I like it more when they play like a bit slower, fits them more, and when they also try and engage.
Yeah, exactly right. The Condemn does go back there as Naru just gets exploded. NL looks for it as well. He's underneath the enemy turret. And that's 2 kills back for SuperMassive. They're now chasing forward. Karsa lands the Sonic Wave.
Proper caster curse here. We're praising Flashwolves for not being like over-aggressive, and then MMD just dives straight into a Vayne with a Bladed Ruin King already, rapid-fire cannon. And the rest of the team obviously can't follow.
I just loved NL just chilling under the turret as Maple's looking for so much. Oh my goodness, he does get stunned up as Karsa's going to kick him back.
Flash.
Nice flash is going to come out there as Karsa taken down by Dumbledoge. Maple lands the chain, but isn't going to follow up with anything. Here's the answer from SuperMassive.
Oh my god, we're back in this game.
Yeah, boys.
Not sure why it's we, because we're not really like.
Oh no,
we didn't do anything.
We're part of this now.
We're part of it. The comeback. It's not quite 17,000 gold yet. Doesn't matter. We have our own comeback here.
They're setting the stage.
Basically, we see MMD coming in. He dives straight onto Achuu here, but like NL at this point, he can't really jump in towards the 4. Yeah, he can jump in there, but like against the 4 members and that jump as well, straight into it.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work when there's a big old wall of sand soldiers. So slightly unfortunate there for NL, but I did like the manliness of the play. Definitely making sure he could get that kill all at the beginning.
I just want to see if he jumps.
Stomaged.
He actually jumped straight into the Ekko stun. So he couldn't jump in, get the kill, and jump out.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of good things happened, as once again, the decoy soaking a lot of aggro. Maple just seems to be able to mind game people.
That's the real tank. That's why a tank LeBlanc is a thing, man. Just get tank LeBlanc.
Yep.
Clone never dies.
Look, man, I'm from the LPL. We've had top lane.
Yeah, I've seen weirder things. I've seen weirder things in the LPL.
All sorts of crazy stuff seem meta. But Flashwell's now positioning around this dragon. Rift Scuttlet has been taken by SuperMassive though, so do have some vision that can't be removed. Sonic Wave lands on Achuu.
And let's talk about how both teams want a team fight here. If you're Flash Wolves, you really want to get like that flank with LeBlanc, with TP coming in from Maokai, so you can actually dive onto the back line and you can like one-shot the Azir or one-shot the Vayne. The problem is, SuperMassive wants you to dive onto them.
Yeah.
Because they have obviously the disengage from Vayne all around her, so it doesn't even matter where you're coming from, she will be able to use ulti on you. And then it's just like a Azir wall, Vayne kiting as well, smoke screen from a Graves, making it a little bit harder when you just rush towards them. So if Flash Wolves never get a proper flank and kind of catch out a member of SuperMassive, they will struggle, especially late on in the game, to take down these targets, and the damage is much, much higher for SuperMassive if you look at how fast they can take down like a single target. NL, of course, will scale up with this Tristana as well, but he's just going to be hitting Ekko almost every single team fight. And that's a problem, because a Vayne against a tank compared to a Tristana against a tank is not exactly the same. Vayne will be able to take down the tank faster, especially with the help from an Azir.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Achuu as well now has himself the QSS, rapid fire cannon completed at the same time, so plenty of attack speed here for Achuu. See whether he finishes off the Mercurial's Scimitar or whether he goes for something else as item number 3. And Flashwell's still knocking on the door, but it's nowhere near as suffocating as it was before. 4,000 gold is the lead here for the Flashwolves. But SuperMassive showing them that, look, now that we've got a couple of items, we're happy to fight you.
Yeah, Flashwolves are trying to get vision in this jungle because that actually sets up some very good wards to TP flank on. Because then you want to bait the Baron, and when the team runs past the ward towards the river, you TP in with the Maokai, you have your LeBlanc coming, you know, from the shadows, and then suddenly you have that great flank, you get a few kills, and then you can take the Baron right after. But you can also see SuperMassive, they are aware of this, so they instantly just 4-man into the jungle, being like, all right, you want wards here, you're going to fight us.
Yeah.
And Flashwolves are basically just waiting for that proper setup to have a few wards around the blue buff, but not in a position to really challenge the Baron. They're going in now,
yeah,
though.
Teleport is being looked for here from MMD. Doesn't want to go on to Stomaged right now as Thaldrin. He's able to run away very quickly with the Z-Drive Resonance.
Man, that was a...
Oh my goodness.
Terrible teleport.
Final hour popped from Achuu. That's all he gets for a teleport.
Flashwolves had their plan, and they're like, all right, we're going to TP flank. And that was it. There was like no strategy, like how are we going to do this? It was just like the end game goal was like TP flank them. But the rest of the team was standing mid lane. Mabel was still standing top lane. And it was like 2 members from SuperMassive moving in, clearing the ward, and then already backing away. So that's TP gone now. That's massive.
Yeah.
Because now Flashwolves don't really have a way of properly flanking with the Maokai. And we're going to look at Mabel trying to get a pick only. As long as SuperMassive stays together and keep vision around this Baron area so they can always go in and stop the Baron, they can keep delaying the game right now.
Well, we'll see whether Thaldrin, once he does have that teleport up, is going to head down towards the bottom side of the map. MMD had set up that wave quite nicely, so SuperMassive will need to go and deal with it.
Flashwolves can still start Baron with like 2 or 3 members. Maokai can tank it, and Tristana can hit it. Oh, they're actually doing it right now.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see they agree.
Yeah.
But also now SuperMassive should not be fooled by this. Like, yeah, you might see 1 or 2 members in lanes, but you haven't seen now the rest of the team, and you know there's a pink ward on it. They're moving in now, but it might be too late.
It certainly looks like it here as 1,000 health is the Baron. It has been seen with the Scrying Orb, but smacked out of the way. The Baron is going to get picked up, and Flashwolves are looking for more. Maple trying to explode Dumbledoge, but isn't going to be able to. Lock it to the Iron Solari helps keep him alive through the Ignite. But that is going to be his parting gift as Flash Wolves just go back and spend their money.
So the one play Flash Wolves could pull off right now where there's barely any risk was this one, like a 2-3-man Baron. SuperMassive react way too late. And suddenly, even though we had a wasted teleport, a good situation for SuperMassive, Flash Wolves gets the Baron, and now suddenly you can start playing that 1-3-1 game. Buff up these minions, push it down, and spread out SuperMassive.
Yeah, no longer needed is that teleport from MMD, so he's going to head down towards that bottom side of the map. The Maokai just going to smash some minions into the ground. Maple, not going to find the chain there as collateral damage flies through. Yeah, there's the decoy. Pretty sure we understand that that's the one.
It's not about randomly staying around.
Yeah.
Like, shoot me one more time, please.
Shoot me, baby, one more time. It's Achuu. Oh, he's going to get snagged by the Sonic Wave. Once again, Dumbledoge right here. Not the 41% hanging around his AD carry as he would normally. Has definitely been at Achuu's back a lot more this time around. But Dumbledoge now actually caught out of position a little bit. Might be the Vayne coming to the rescue as Naru just gets chunked. NL flashes forward. There's the heal from Achuu. Fantastic communication from SuperMassive, but they lose the Sun Turret and possibly this Inner at the same time. You're right, the defensive prowess of Janna Shield, not exactly all that great.
No, sadly didn't benefit them that much here. Flash Wolves with the Baron buff, forcing the wave flare away. Vayne doesn't offer anything. It's all about Naru and, of course, whatever else you can find with like a Janna Tornado or Graves Q, like that's your wave, the Ekko Q as well, but normally people won't be sitting there straight at the tower, so get the Azir away and you have most of the waves there gone.
Yeah, well, it is SuperMassive not having many of their inner turrets remaining. In fact, none of them are there as the chain is going to land on a Naru. Does have himself the shield. Sonic Wave landing again from Karsa. Doesn't really want to go in. Emperor's Divide, of course, able to stop him if he needs to. SuperMassive have cleared out some of the vision, but that pink ward too dangerous to finish off. And they're just holding on for dear life. If they can hold on to these inhibitor turrets, there might be a chance, but in go the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, again, delay the game, get rid of the Baron buff. Sadly, there's still some dragons on the table. Another one is spawning in just 10 seconds. For Flash Wolves, there might be an engage.
Yeah, parallel convergence coming in. Thaldrin grabs himself a shield for it. Silverbolt's not going to get procced here on MMD. And they just back away. Maple just split, pushing towards the bottom side of the map. Just minions getting poured towards SuperMassive.
That Baron was so important for Flash Wolves. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, after some misplays, losing a fight, you know, the poor teleport, it felt like SuperMassive had a chance to really claw their way back into this game. But then that two-man Baron started, so it's a good call by Flash Wolves. We talked about how once you like sit in the lanes, you kind of fake it. You're like, hey guys, look, we're just in the lanes, we're just pushing out, we're definitely not on Baron. And the team doesn't realize in time that actually two guys are missing. One of them is the AD carry. And suddenly you move in too late, the Baron is gone. Enough for Flash Wolves to also steal away a blue buff.
That was very cheeky. Thaldrin looking for some revenge, but is just going to get chained up for it. Ooh,
calm down.
Blood is in there.
It was just a blue buff.
Yeah, he's upset about it though. You can see that. Doesn't have a heck of a lot of magic resist right now. Only a Spectre's Cowl and those Mercury Treads. Just about to finish off that Spirit Visage. And NL just went back and bought a full Renan's Hurricane. This Tristana is massive.
Yeah, unless Ekko can basically zone her out, she will actually be able to get close enough, start hitting some of these targets. So SuperMassive really needs to just kite back in these fights here and hope they can kind of trade tank for AD carry, at least in terms of time wasted.
Yeah, and they're going to have to rely on Naru as well to be able to control these team fights. Now has those 3 items completed in the Abyssal Scepter, Nash's Tooth, and the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Rylai's for the slowing ability, going to be fantastic, not to mention some added health. But even on CS is Maple and Naru. Naru doing fantastically well to still be able to pick up the minions.
Cleaning them out. The Flash Wolves are just back, you know, honestly. They're waiting for Baron. There's nothing else to do on the map right now, so you just keep the pressure up and you hope SuperMassive makes a mistake. Yeah. Try and go in like one man or one guy leaving the tower too early so you can push it in.
And look at all the vision that they actually have. SuperMassive with a lot of control towards the bottom side of the map. That being said, NL is just gigantic. Running out of adjectives to describe how massive this guy is. It is going to be the bomb going off, and the inhibitor turret did not last long at all. There's a couple of auto attacks. The turret gets destroyed and the base is broken. Yeah,
when you have Tristana, you can get onto these towers and you can take them down so quickly. SuperMassive were kind of split up, didn't really know where to defend, and suddenly you had a few seconds for Tristana, and the tower is dead. NL is very, very strong at this point.
Yeah, just playing so far up. Look at Dumbledoge. Oh my goodness, the rocket jump comes in. Monsoon goes down though. That is going to stop him there as Emperor's Divide is going to lock them all up against the wall. Maple just going to destroy Naru, but SuperMassive need to try and do something. Thaldrin's going to fall down as well, and Flash Wolves, this is all about them. There's the resets. And NL's just going to help destroy the whole team. Maple grabbing a couple, and Flash Wolves going to look for the win.
Yeah, pushing straight towards the Nexus. Only one member alive, Dumbledoge. I don't think you can do this.
Yeah, look, I have a lot of faith in you, Dumbledoge, with 10,000 gold in the lead. Flash Wolves, 35 minutes into the game. Grab the cheeky Baron, and then the victory. The Tristana for the first time, and NL makes it look easy.
Basically had a Flash Wolves team saying, you want to play Vayne? You want to scale up to late game here and sit in those side lanes? Well, we're going to pick an AD carry who can just push down your towers. Over and over and over, and I'm much faster in terms of pushing the lanes than you are. And that's what Flash was used so well early on in the game. Got slowed down a little bit, around when they lost that team fight, and there was actually a chance that SuperMassive could maybe make it to late game, but Vayne is such a hard champion to execute in the current meta. You lose these towers too early, and you need too much time, honestly.
Yeah, and it just seems to me that NL got that little bit too far ahead, and was maybe the counter to what SuperMassive were trying to do, because they wanted to get to that 50-minute mark where they could stall out the game long enough for Azir to be massive, for the fact that Vayne, of course, scaling up fantastically well, but unfortunately, when there's a Tristana on the opposing side, what does Vayne do? She tumbles forward and then gets 3-shot. I think that's what happens, and Achuu just fell to that one in the end. NL having a fantastic performance, and this is a guy we've asked questions of. I mean, looked great on the Ezreal, but hasn't necessarily found it on any other champion. Tristana, very different, but looking very good.
This was a perfect game for NL because he's what we like to call like a role-playing AD carry. He's also the guy who mainly plays PvE on the side of Flash Wolves. He just wants to be sitting in these lanes and always pushing minions and trying to get onto towers, and Tristana therefore fits him extremely well. And overall, I think it was a good last pick coming in, because I think it surprised SuperMassive a bit. They're like, okay, we see Maokai, we see the LeBlanc, so you're going to try and dive our backline. We can now kite, we have disengage from Janna, and we don't have to care about your AD carry, because it's probably like, you know, a Lucian or something, and our Ekko can deal with that 1v1 and kind of push him out. And then we kill the tank, and we take you down 1 by 1. Tristana comes in, and it's like fast pushing, towers going down, and yeah, honestly, a game where Flash were in control. Yeah, they certainly were, and I actually really liked what they did with the lane swap at the same time. They understood that they were on the red side, maybe not going to be able to end up with that Rift Herald if they were to swap the lanes, but there was a Vayne on the enemy side. If we have Tristana, we'll have that pushing power, and I like to think that they thought about that beforehand, because honestly it worked out fantastically for them, because they were able to keep up regardless of that Rift Herald buff, save that bottom inner turret for the first little while, and then get the lane swap working out in their favor, kept things very, very even, and then Maple went completely ridiculous. Yeah, basically all they had to do, right? Not fall behind the lane swap, play your side lanes, take down these towers. Obviously Maple could dance around the map and do whatever he wanted to. Yeah, exactly right. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk.